point of this video is to talk about cameras. Just basically, I'm infatuated with cameras and we're starting a photography business, me and my wife. Should be loads of fun. Fault is photography. We are working on building the website and portfolio as we speak, and as soon as we get a confident yet substantial portfolio built, we will be advertising. And I am proud to say Fault is Photography will be the first sponsor of the AmpleTech 34 Tech channel. Yeah! So, back to the video at hand. Camera basics. What do you need to know to grab the camera that you spent all that money on and get confident, good photographs or videos? We'll explain both. We will not be going in depth on either or, just the basics of the camera and how it works in this video, and then I will delve into photography advanced and video advanced courses. But this was kind of brought on by my wife's aunt, who asked, basically, how do I work this thing? She takes great photos. I've seen some of her work. She's done family photos for us before, and she has great composition. The pictures look good. She just doesn't really know why they look good or what she's doing and how to recreate these looks. So that is all derived from camera basics, knowing what your camera's functions are, what means what, and how to fix things. So on here you have your mode, your shutter speed, your ISO, and your f-stop or your aperture. Okay, so let's break these down a little bit one at a time. First, your shutter speed. Basically, this is going to be how fast the mechanical or electronic shutter on your camera opens and closes in a second. So per second, how many times or how fast it can open and shut. So with that being said, and moving on to the next point, so your shutter speed is how fast the shutter snaps and closes the sensor, allowing light in and out, in and out, in and out. So on the video side, and when you're recording videos, you're recording at a certain frame rate. So a lot of cameras you'll see 4K 24p or 4K 60p, or if you have a really nice camera, 4K 120 or 240p. That's what I'm trying to get next. However, what you have is these different recording frame rates. Your shutter speed should always be double your frame rate. That way you have a nice smooth buttery action. If you go over to try and cut some of the exposure, it won't hurt. It's just giving you a faster snap of the motion picture. It will all sync up when you get into edit. But if you are just filming regular cinematic views, say you have 4K 24p, you want to be at 1/50th on your shutter speed. So moving on, next point, f-stop, or as we like to call, aperture. Aperture is the opening or iris on the inside of your lens, as seen here. Basically, what that is doing, the aperture is controlling how much light is going through the actual center point or the focal point of your lens going to your sensor. So the aperture or iris that creates the aperture. There's a lot of terms involved in this, guys. That's why I'm trying to keep it as basic as possible. You'll see a lot of cameras boast either 7, 9, or 11 blade iris, which is how many blades go to close up that circle on the inside of the lens. When you get to looking at your camera and playing with it, you'll see the blades inside of the lens. That is your iris, which controls your aperture. The higher the number, the smaller the opening or the iris. So if you are shooting at an f/22, you're basically opened up like a pinhole of light that is going through and being captured by that sensor. It's really cool, right? The bigger the hole is, obviously, the more light that is going through the center focal point of the lens to the sensor, allowing you to catch or record an image in lower light. So the bigger the sensor in your camera, obviously, the more light that it can take on and capture, which isn't necessarily true. There's a lot of science involved in that, and I'm not going down there. I'm not saying full frame is any better than micro four thirds or APS-C. All I'm saying is physically the idea is if you have a bigger sensor, more light can hit on it. It's better in low light. We do know full frame 9 times out of 10 is better in low light performance. Moving on past that, when you're looking at buying lenses, if you're looking to drop some serious cash and you want to get a nice lens, if it's a telephoto zoom, you're usually looking either at an f/2.8 all the way through if it's a really nice expensive one, or like a f/3.5 to 5.6 or something like that. You have the aperture, all right? F-stop, explained, aperture, boom, got it. All right, next, moving on. The ISO. The ISO of the camera is the sensitivity, okay? For digital photography, ISO refers to the sensitivity of the camera sensor. The ISO setting is one of 3 elements used to control exposure. The other 2 are f-stop and shutter speed. ISO originally referred to the sensitivity of film, its light gathering ability. Okay. It stands for International Organization of Standardization. It's just a way of standardizing the way a sensor for digital photography, the way the sensor captures and gathers light. So, the higher your ISO number, the more sensitive the sensor will be to the light, basically. So the higher the sensitivity, the lower light you can effectively capture or film, record video in. So if you're at dark, you want your ISO high so that it is letting the sensor be more sensitive to the light, and thus giving you a brighter image. However, be warned, doesn't mean you can just crank up the ISO all the time. Your ISO also adds what we call noise. Basically, it causes noise and distortion in the image and the colors that you're looking at. There are some new mirrorless cameras that have a very, very high native ISO, like 25,600, which once you get into the cameras, you'll understand that is pretty high, and it's, nuts, but they look great. So in a nutshell, you have your shutter speed, you have your ISO or sensitivity, you have your aperture of your lens, which is letting light in and out, okay? So have your exposure bracket. A lot of times you'll see on your camera, especially if you have a DSLR like this Canon Rebel T7 that I'm showing over here, it basically is just giving you the parameters that your photo will be taken at. And essentially, all you need to know is these 3 main settings I've just explained to get your picture adjusted. Now, what I suggest and what I've done and what I'm still currently doing, because it takes a while to master this, guys, I'm going out at different times of the day, picking things that I want to photograph, and I'm playing with my camera settings, okay, and getting it adjusted and, learn these settings, turn them up and down, adjust, see what works best. For me, it was inevitable that I would have to learn the manual settings and how to tweak a camera, how to make it look good the first time, the right way. And I'll tell you, I give a lot of credit to Marcus Pix. He has got some primo information on his videos. I'll leave a link down below in case you stumbled across my channel and have never heard of Marcus Pix. I would gladly give that guy a recommendation. It's good content, and he really wants to help people learn. I've learned a lot of the things I know from his channel, and the guy's great. He's just a There's a lot of good info there. There's a lot of other good YouTubers too. That was my one shout out for the video, but I will leave a link to his channel down below. And yeah, until the next one, guys, this is Devin, and thanks for learning how to use a camera with me today. I'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe below. Do it for the algorithm. Do it for the channel. Do it for Faultus Photography. Like and share this video so your friends will see it and love it and like it, and they'll know how to use a camera too. Because trust and believe, social media is the new career moving forward with the help of AI. That's for another video.